episode 2 of Authentic Career and Life Design. And today we're going to be delving deeper into how to define your career path. And if you listen to my previous podcast, you know that this is the first step. And really, I think that this is the most important step because I used to talk about how the job search is like dating, right? So you want to know what you're looking for. You're not just going to take anything. The I'll take anything approach doesn't work with dating, with life, with a lot of things, but especially in your job search. So it's really important that you take time to figure it out. What is it you want? So defining your path. Hi, I'm Laura, and I'm with Authentic Career and Life Design. I've been in the field of career development and education for 30 years, and I'm excited to talk to you today about defining your path, which is the first step in all of this. So stay tuned, and we'll get right into it. I like to start out by asking this question, which is, what are you seeking in your next position? And it's really helpful to be able to answer this in one or two sentences. And so today's episode, we're going to walk you through that. So, first, if you're unsure about your direction and you have no idea, or you have some idea, I always talk about clients being in three buckets: those who have a clue, those who have no clue, and those who need a new clue, right? So depending on where you are on that, hopefully this next kind of exercise will help you with that. So the first thing is, I talked about before, you need to figure out what are your interests, what are your skills, and what are your values. So the first step in that is your interests. So to define your interests, you probably know this, but think about, how do you spend your time? So let's say it's a weekend and you have a Saturday to yourself. Maybe there's a snowstorm outside, or we'll just say that your all your plans were canceled. Your calendar is clear. Your house is clean. All your to-dos are done, and you're going to sit down and you can do whatever you want. Okay. So what is that? How are you spending your time? If you're watching TV or any sort of media, what are the topics, right? What interests you? What are those activities that you really, really love to do? What's in your TikTok feed, if you are on TikTok, or what's on your Pinterest board, right? What kind of hobbies do you have? How do you spend your free time? Are you out in the community? Are you volunteering? Are you helping others? Are you spending time in the stock market, looking at money, right? So what are those interests that you like to do? What do you like to do? The next step is your skills. And this is sometimes really hard for people. So I like to pull together your group of people, right? So this is where we always talk about radical collaboration. So ask people, what am I good at? Family members, parents, if you're younger, they may be able to tell you. What do your friends comment on you on? Like, you're really good at that. When you think about work that you've done in the past, what do you get lost in? What do you enjoy doing? What are the types of activities that you get really excited about because they come easily to you? So what are your skills? There's lots of assessments online where you can go. I referred to some of these in the podcast, in the video before, which is Career One Stop. Allows you to take an assessment, and it'll ask you some questions, give you some prompts about skills. So that might be helpful. But really, just take time, write a list of all your strengths, all your skills. Okay. If you have a resume, go through that. Look at, what are your strengths, what are your skills. Okay. The next one is your values. And I think this is the part where people sort of forget. And when I talk about values, I'm talking about your work values. And when we're talking about a job search, we know that it's just not about your job, but it's also about your life outside of your job. So what do you need in your career for it to be satisfying? All right. So I want you to think about these topics. I've sort of pulled them together on the blog post, but work-life balance. What does that look like for you? What kind of flexibility do you need? What season of life are you in? Do you have children that you need to pick up and drop off from school? Do you need to volunteer in the classroom? Do you have aging parents that you're taking care of? So you need some flexibility around that. Maybe you're dealing with some medical issues and you have appointments and things you need to go to, right? What kind of work balance, work life balance do you want? So think about flexibility. The next one is your impact and contribution, right? So, how important is it for you to be in a career that allows you to make meaningful impact? Is that important to you? Okay. Your contribution. Think about A, is that important? And B, what does that look like? So, do you want to be working for an organization whose values align with your own? Or do you want to be working at an organization that you don't really care as long as you're able to do this work or get your paycheck, whatever your reasons are? What kind of impact and contribution? The next one is financial considerations. And I think this is where we sort of get lost. I always say this, when I started my career back in the 90s, I would say, do what you love and the money will follow. I don't believe that anymore, right? So depending on where you are, you need to think about what kind of salary do you need to make in order to make ends meet, or in order to save for college, or in order to, be able to travel. So think about those things. And I'll do a future blog post about that, doing your salary requirements and how to get a good range of salary. But think about, what are your financial considerations? That is a value, and we want to put that down. The next one is company culture and values. I touched on this a little bit, but is it important to you that you work for a company that you're proud of or that aligns with your own personal values? If it is, you need to write those down. If it's not, this might be something you want to skip. Opportunities for learning and development. So are you at the beginning stage of your career and you want opportunities, you want to work for an organization, or you want to be in a position where you're able to continue to learn and grow? Okay. Are there internal learning and development options, or is there a budget for you to go to professional conferences, do research, do writing, things like that? So think about that, if that's important to you, and what that looks like. The work environment. Okay. So what's it like? What's your commute like for you? Are you working from home? If you're going into the office, are you in a cubicle? Are you in a space that feels like it's going to support who you are and what you need? What's the physical environment that is going to appeal to you? Write those down. Again, we're not going to have the perfect job that clicks all these boxes, but this allows you to start to create that criteria so that when you're looking at careers and jobs, you know what matches. If you're creative and innovative, if that's important to you, you want to write that down as well, right? So do you want to be able to have a lot of control over the projects that you're doing and be able to be as creative as you want? Or maybe that's not important to you. Again, many of these things won't be important to you, but for those of you where it is important, you'll want to write it down and have it be one of your key criteria. Autonomy and control. Are you the kind of person that wants someone to come and give you a list of things you need to do, and just every day you go through that list, you get it done? Are you the kind of person who wants to be given a project and you figure out the best tools and ways that you need to get it done? Recognition and appreciation. And I think when I work with people, especially mid-level career changers, this tends to be a good one. A lot of times people aren't getting the value and recognition they need from a current job, which is what's causing them to go to a different job. So if that's really important to you, or you have some sort of trauma in the past about ways that you weren't given that value and recognition, this is going to be an important value for you. For others, maybe you get your value and recognition from other ways outside of work. So again, if it's important to you, write it down and write what it looks like. So other things that people kind of talk about for values are like helping others, influencing others. Are you in a job that has power or authority? Are you in a position of leadership? Are you in a position that allows you to express your own cultural experiences? But then beyond that, for those of you who are doing a national or even global job search, what kind of environment do you want? Do you want to be able to hike in the mountains on the weekends? Do you want to be able to kayak, right? Do you want to go to the beach? Do you want to be able to live somewhere where there's lots of space and you can find a property and have a garden, right? So think about that in terms of setting, but then also urban, suburban, and this comes in with your commute. Another piece for those of you is thinking about, am I near my support network? I'll do an episode on our lifelines and our support systems. They're really important to us and they contribute to our happiness. So, is there a train I can hop on to go home, right? How hard is it to get near the people I love? So now we've got our interests, we've got our skills, and we've got our values. So now you've got 3 lists. Hopefully they're kind of long. What I want you to do is kind of pull it all together. And pulling it together is looking for themes. So, for example, you might have an interest, like for me, my interest is working with people, helping people. A skill for me is working with people, helping people. I get good feedback that I'm good at listening, I'm good at talking, I'm good at presenting, so interacting with people. And then a value of mine is feeling that intrinsic need that my skills and my experiences are going toward helping others. So for sure, it's an interest, it's a skill, it's a value. So one of my main criteria that I'm looking for in a position is to be able to help others in direct and concrete ways. That becomes number 1. I like to have people come up with this list from these 3 lists. We're going to boil it down to 8 to 10 criteria. And I talk about this as being, again, the blueprint, right? So this is the lens through which you're looking at our next step. So this next step, it could be helpful for those of you who already know exactly what you want to do and just pulling it together. So I'm kind of giving this for 2 types of job seekers. The first job seeker really probably spent a lot of time on what I talked about earlier in this episode, which is figuring it out. So if you're in that stage of trying to figure out what you should do, maybe you are a mid-level career seeker who wants to make a change, is ready for a change. Or 2, you might be a retiree. So maybe you've retired, you've done all the traveling, you've done all the things, and now you feel like you want a little bit more purpose and you want to go back to work in certain ways. So that will help you. That first step in the interest, skills, and values will help you clarify that. For those of you who already know, or for those of you who've done that work and now you're ready to write your career goal, that's what we're going to talk about next. So how to write your career goal. Again, I came up with this probably, I don't know, like 10 years ago, but I think that the piece is really what components are needed in a career goal. And I have these 4 components. Number 1 is, what's the career field? Okay. So what general career field of interest appeals to you? Number 2, position title. Now, for some fields, there may be a lot of different position titles, but having a sense of position title is helpful. Do a quick search of, just type in job titles related to engineering, job titles related to fundraising for nonprofits, right? So you'll see a variety, just so you know what those are. Number 3 is the population. So what type of people would benefit from the work that you do? So who would be your clients, your customers, or the recipients of your services or products? And number 4, what are your strengths and skills? So how do you want to use the skills and talents that you want to use, right? And so that helps you pull it together. So on the blog post that's related to this, you can see that, let's say you're looking for a position in learning and development, okay? So you might pull something together. So I want to do learning and development in a global technology company. So that's my career field, global technology company. Learning development, global technology company. Number 2 is my position title. So I did a quick Google search. I came up with learning and development specialist, learning and development assistant, coordinator, director of training, training coordinator, training manager, training instructor, learning and development consultant, learning and development director, learning and development manager. So you can see there's a lot of different ones, and I can see which ones are at which level of where I am my career. And the population I want to work with. So with learning and development, most likely I'm going to work with an internal population, but I wrote here internal employees of organizations. I could do K through 12 students, secondary education students. So there's a lot of different populations there. And the strengths that I want to use with this are project management, change management, leadership. There's a whole list. What I did was I just Googled top skills needed for learning and development director, and that's what came up. So now I pulled those 4 things again, and here's my career goal. This is what I came up with. See what you think. I'm seeking a position as director of learning and development at a global technology company, working with internal teams using my leadership, change management, and relationship building skills. Whoa! Mic drop, right? So what this is going to do is let you have that piece. Remember in the episode, if you listen to it, when I talked about being prepared when people ask you, oh, you're doing a job search, what are you looking for? Here we have. Oh, Laura, it's nice to see you. What's going on? Oh, you know what? I started a job search and I'm really, really excited about it. Oh, that's great. What are you looking for? I'm seeking a position as a director of learning and development at a global tech company. You know, I worked at a tech company before. I'm working with internal teams using my leadership, change management, and relationship building skills. Do you know anybody who might be able to help me? What? So that's it. Those are my 2 things on how you do your defining your path. You figure out what it is that you want, who you are, your interest, skills, your values. Then you have your career goal. That's what you need to do. Follow me for more information. If you want to talk authentic career and life design, I can do a 15-minute free discovery call, or we can sit down and have an hour conversation, or I have career coaching packages as well. So I look forward to meeting you, talking to you, and getting your feedback on this episode. Have a great day.